Good morning, children. Today we'll do grammar and we'll do two verbs or the infinitives. Now, I have already taught you last year the infinitives and the non finite verbs. So, this is like a revision, and I will be doing almost everything again so that it's like a brush up and you become almost like an expert. You should become by the time you reach your 10th, you will be an expert in this. Okay, so now if you see two verbs, it's anything the main or the base or the root verb. It's also called as the main, base or root verb. I remember when I taught you all anything to do, to say, to like, to run, to sing. So when you add to and the base part of the verb, like see, you can have say the word verb sing. Okay, the action of singing. It's a verb because it's showing an action. Now you can have singing, sung, which is past tense. Yes, will sing, shall be singing. All the types of tenses. But you take only the main root verb and add to it. Okay? So you take the main root verb and add to it. That becomes an infinite. Infinitives are very easy because you really don't have to think of anything else. You don't have to think like, is it this or is it that? Because you just know you have to add to and the root verb and you get your infinitive. Okay. So let's read what is the meaning of an infinitive. The to form of the verb, that's the infinitive. The to form of the verb is a non-finite verb. This means that it is a verb whose form does not change whatever the tense of the sentence. It is known as the infinitive. Yes, means whether you're talking of the present tense, you're talking of the past tense, or the future tense, the verb remains the same. The form of the verb remains the study, a function of the two infinitive verb. Study the underlying parts of the sentences. So, yes, okay. To believe is to know subject of the sentence. Here now, if you see here, this to believe, where is the cursor? I don't know. Oh, here. Okay, to believe. Yeah. Okay. To believe is to know. So if you look at this, remember I told you the proper prose order of a sentence is subject, verb, and object. Okay, subject, verb, and object. See. So here you have the to believe works does the work of a subject over here. Is your action, is your verb, correct? So what, how do you know if it is a subject is generally will be a noun, and when you're talking of a subject you can say what or who. Ask the question what or who. Okay, so here can you ask the question what is to know? Yes, you get your answer to believe. So here it does a work of subject. Now we move to the next one. To believe is to know the same thing, but here see this is to and the verb. Here also it is to and the verb, but here it's doing a different function. Here it's acting as a complement of this verb to. It's complementing this verb. It's not the subject. Subject generally is in the beginning of the sentence. Okay. Next we go to the third sentence. He wanted to know more about the subject. Here, if you see subject, this is your verb and this is your object. Okay. Now you will ask me, how does this become the complement and this become the object? The reason is because this is just, it doesn't have any other action showing. It is not showing action. Okay, it's not showing action, it's just showing the state of being, being. Correct? That's why it becomes a complement. Well as here, wanted, showing some action. So here, subject, verb, and this is your object. Okay. Now, can you ask, what did he want to know? Yes, he wanted to know more about the subject. If you look, see, here, object of the full finite verb wanted. So here, this is a full and finite verb. It's a complete verb. It's a complete verb by itself. Now, if you say only is it complete? No, is alive, is something, you need something. Yes, so only he wanted. So, okay, it is a verb which is complete. Next, he studies to know more about the subject. Yeah, it's acting as an adverb. Yeah, it's not the subject, it's not the object, neither is it the complement. Here is doing the work of the adverb. And what is it modifying? The full finite verb study. What is the action here? Study. Okay? And answers the question why. Here it answers the question why. Why did he study? To know more about the subject. Okay. Now we go to the next one. How you can change this. If you want to remove this to know or to or the infinite the verb, then you will, yes, if you want to remove this infinite verb, to know, to believe, you want to remove it. How you can remove is by changing the form of the sentence. So instead of to believe, you can add this to dot dot, that's some words of the sentence, to dot dot. Okay, like he was too weak to stand. So this two always comes first. He was too weak to stand. Okay. He was too short to jump over the fence. Okay. Whatever you want, that's the way you can change your sentence. Okay. Now, very often the to form of the verb is used with to form a correlative pair showing results. So, as a result of being short, he couldn't jump over the fence. As a result of being weak, he couldn't stand. Okay. In such sentences, okay, this should be in, okay. In such sentences, one can replace the adverb to with so and replace the to part with a that clause, also, also showing result. So instead of to and to, you can say so that he was so weak that he could not stand, and he was so short that he could not look over the fence. Clear? So what are you doing? This to verb you removed. You removed the to infinitive. Okay. So how to remove the to infinitive when a sentence is given to like too short to stand or sorry, too short to look or too weak to stand. To stand, to look. This should be gone. You have to remove it. Correct. So how you remove it? By adding so and that. He was so short that he could not see over the fence or look over the fence, and he was so short, so weak that he could not stand. Okay, so now let's look at the examples. The biscuit was too hard to bite. So how will you say? Now what are they saying? The biscuit was, instead of to, you add so. Okay, instead of to, you'll write so. See, so. So the biscuit was so hard. Instead of this, you start with that. The biscuit was so hard. Here this will become so, and here we start with that. Okay, that it could not be bitten. That it so that it could not be bitten. You'll tell the reason. Okay, relate it. What happened because the biscuit was hard? What happened? That's what you will tell. Okay. Now, he was too proud to beg. Okay, this should be TOO. Okay, TOO. He was too proud to beg. So what happened because he was too proud? He he was so that because he was so proud, he was not willing to beg. He did not want to beg. Okay. Now, how will your answer be? He was. Yeah, I told you. Instead of to, you will say so. He was so proud that, immediately I said that, he would not beg. That he would not beg. Next. Okay. One point. Okay. Let me tell you the third example. Then I'll tell you. This shirt is too torn to be mended. So that means what happened? Because the shirt was too torn, it could not be repaired. It could not be stitched and made make it wearable. Okay. So this shirt was, what will you write? So torn that it cannot be mended. Okay. Now, how do you know when you have to write could or cannot? If you look at the sentence, this is a past tense. Was. Clear? This is a past tense, so that's why here cannot, could not. Okay. This is a present tense, so it becomes cannot. So remember, past tense was becomes could not or could not. Depends on what the sentence is, okay? But if it's was, it becomes could. If it is, it becomes can or cannot. Clear? If it is was, it becomes could or could not, whatever. If it is, it becomes can or cannot. Clear? Depending on the sentence, okay? What is the action? Now, if you have to write would, then yeah, he was too proud that he would not pay. Okay? If it is, if is was there here, it is that he will not beg. Okay? Yeah, because it is was, you wrote would. If it was is, you will write will not. Okay? Will not, would not. Would not is for was. Clear? Okay. Now let's go to the exercise. I've got a little soreness in the throat, so it's itching me. I can't talk continuously. Sorry. Now let's read your exercise. Exercise homework. First one, rewrite using the infinitive form of the word underlined. He has fine goods for sale. So, what do you, okay? He had fine goods for sale. So, this is a verb. So, what do you have to put? What is the infinitive? Remember, to and the root form of the verb. So, root form of sale is sell. Okay. So, same way. Yeah, root form of play will be playing will be to play. Heard will be to hear. Pass will be to pass. Chasing will be to chase. Okay. So you have to first concentrate on what is underlined and then think what is the to form of this verb, and then form your sentence. Understood? Where you will use the to form of it, that is the infinitive form of it. Sorry. So I'll the first answer is he had fine goods. Instead of for sale, you'll say to sell. She was happy playing on the violin. Next, the Pandit got scared when he heard such a complicated name. Next, he could not pass. Next, I like chasing the shadows with my lantern. Okay, we go to the next question. Rewrite changing the underlined infinitive form. So, he built a bridge to span the tide. Now, in this, they've given you the infinitive form. You have to remove it. Okay, you have to remove it. Now, I told you one of those examples that I gave you, three examples. You will implement those little rules that I told you here. He built a bridge instead of to so that he could span the tide. He built a bridge so that you have to tell the reason why he built the bridge so that he could span the tide. She decided to participate. Okay, so her plants loved to hear her favorite tune. I am sending a ship to the African coast to trade. He was invited to the palace, this is to the palace to show them the goods. Revati wondered how to convince them. Okay, Next one. Rewrite removing two. He was so weak to look further for food. Okay, now, okay, there's a mistake. This should be in capital. Now, when they say removing two, it also means rewrite with so that. So dot dot that. Okay, when you, how will you remove the two? By changing it in the so dot dot that form. Okay, remember this. He was too weak to look further for food. So he was, instead of two, you say so weak, then that he could not look further for food. See, he did not have the ability. So you write could not would not. Okay, he was not that he was not willing. If he's not willing, it will be would not. The judges were too stunned to speak. He is too old to write anything. There are too many leaves for her to count. There were too many leaves for her to count. Next, he had come on the scene too late in the line of mathematical history to make contributions on the same scale. Okay. So it is not very difficult, especially since you have already done it last year. So I hope you are able to do it and write this in your grammar notebook. Thank you.